Good grief.
Oh.
Well, at least we have a nice tour of all the places.
He's got to do a stupid job now. Here. And you have to take it now. Who's next?
Someone make him go to the land of Boo.
Wait a minute.
It's Reuben.
It's Reuben.
Oh, man. Well, okay, he's back in this garden place. He has this stupid job to do, and he's very annoyed at this. You know, he's getting a little impatient with these people because they don't seem to listen to reason or anything. They just seem to be all out for themselves, and the devil take the hindmost, you know, and he's really about to get enough of this. So they have him doing this stupid job with this little tiny hammer. It's not much bigger than a little tiny straight pin with a little tiny end of it, and it's not doing any good, banging away at these great big huge nails. It's kind of ridiculous, so he just throws it down and begins to wander around the land of the flowers. And the only land he hasn't been in yet is the land of Boo. But as he's wandering around, a strange thing seems to be happening. These flowers are getting taller and thicker. It's like a jungle, and they're beginning to look a little more savage, too. And suddenly this giant sunflower smiles wickedly down at him. And he looks up at this great big, fierce-looking sunflower, and he says, "You're blocking my way. Can you bend a little bit? I can't, you're so thick in your stem, I can't seem to push you aside. Are you able to bend a little bit so I can get through?" And the sunflower reaches down with its leaves and picks him up and holds him up high, showing him to all the other flowers, and they all began to jeer and laugh. The roses are laughing. The marigolds are laughing. But they're not little, they're all big. And all these flowers are taking a vicious delight in his captivity. He feels terrified all of a sudden. He always thought flowers were nice things, gentle things, but these are wicked. And even the gardenia, which was always Tommy's favorite flower, the gardenia is laughing at his plight too. And they're saying, "What shall we do with him? Shall we toss him into the canyon and let him get sucked up? Shall we toss him into the whirlpool? Or shall we take him to the lightning? Or to the hot place? Which shall it be?" And they begin to play ball with him, tossing him back and forth. And Tommy suddenly finds himself sailing through the air, and he's caught by the hollyhock. The hollyhock tosses him to the rose tosses him to the lilac tosses him over to the
Time.
Now he's a ball.
Oh, golly, Reuben.
It's your turn, Lucinda.
Oh, my gracious. Well, he's being tossed through the air, and suddenly he's caught by the stinkweed. And the stinkweed uproots itself and begins to run out the garden with him. And all the flowers are furious because the stinkweed don't belong there. And they say, "Look, that antelope is stolen. Catch him. You give him back, he's our toy." But the stinkweed keep a-running, and he's much faster than the other flowers, and he outruns them. And so he gets completely out of the garden. And poor Tommy, his face is all white now. He don't know what's coming off. And he says, "What you gonna do with me?" And the stinkweed say, "Well, you better be glad I come along, because them flowers think they're really something. They think they're the Royal Highness, and they was gonna have their fun with you. And they've always been mean to me, never let me share in their activities. So I thought I'd mess them up, and I took you away. So I'm gonna let you go, but you better not set foot back in there no more." So he said, "Oh, thank you, I sure won't. I don't want nothing to do with them awful flowers." And he asked a question about the land of Boo, but the stinkweed say he never been there. He don't know nothing about it.
They're in the land of Boo.
No, they're not in Boo. They ain't gone there yet. They ain't been to Boo yet. I'm telling this, you be quiet. So he proceeds southward to that land. And pretty soon he gets through the maze and he's in there. And the first thing he see a great big old rainbow. It arches right up from one side of the land to the other. Beautiful colors and all. And he wonders if there might be a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.
Time.
Well,
And
you started to say he wondered if there'd be a rainbow at the end of the pot of gold.
or the rainbow at the end of the rainbow. Go on.
Oh, boy. Well, he went to the part of the rainbow that was closest to him and entered its beautiful colorations, and then he found it's very slippery. He started slipping along the ribbon, the purple part of it, and the first thing he was going in this big arc, just sliding like he was on ice. Whoosh, there he goes. Ooh, so fast. Right over the big arch and down to the other end of the country, and then plunk, there he comes down. But there's no pot of gold. Instead, he seems to be encountering some more of these game people, and this time it's the the tiddlywinks. The tiddlywinks are little chimps walking around with short legs and arms, but they're real sweet, and they're kind of childlike, and they ask him so many questions. Where did you come from? What do you want? And he told them about the outside world, but they didn't believe it. They thought he was making this up. They thought he must have come from one of the other lands connected to Boo. But he never could convince them otherwise. But they liked him because they thought he was a good storyteller. And they brought him nice little things to eat. They served him in little buttercups, little flowers that were buttercups, but yet they didn't let anything leak through. They were solid, And he looked funny sitting there drinking his drink out of a little buttercup and eating his soup out of a little buttercup. But he was having fun with these little tiddlywink people. And everything was going along pretty good, until all of a sudden they started being attacked by
Time.
Oh, good. I didn't know he was going to be attacked by
The hamburger people.
Oh, gracious. What a thing to do to me. They're going to be attacked by, wait a minute, I'm trying to think. Okay, it was the Game of Life people came, and they were driving those little cars, and they had the little cars full of the man and his wife and their kids, the little pegs that sit in there. And they came and started running down the tiddlywinks and running over them and smashing them down. And Tommy had to run and get out of the way. And then the car in the lead suddenly turned around with a U-turn and drove right up in front of Tommy and said, "Get in." And he said, "How? The car's too crowded." And he said, "Well, just pile in like you do in real life." And they smashed him in and stuffed him in the car. And then they all drove off to where the Game of Life people lived. And they all drove their cars up into this little, it would look like a dollhouse. It was really neat. And it had 3 stories and beautiful staircases in it. And so they all pulled their cars into their little garages, and everybody got out. And all the people, there was 5 cars, and they all lived in this house, all the people. So they took Tommy in there, and they treated him okay, but it was so noisy. All those kids and everything, and they were screaming and laughing, and some of the kids were writing on the walls, and some of the kids were shooting rubber bands at each other. One of the rubber bands hit Tommy on the nose, and it was such bedlam. He thought, "Oh, I'll never get any peace and quiet here. I'm going to run up to the attic. I saw they have one up there. Maybe nobody sleeps up there." So he rushed away from all this confusion. He was so tired. And he got up there in the attic. And thank goodness at last he was doing okay and trying to catch his breath.
Time.
trying to catch his breath
In the attic.
Well, he thought he was safe, sorry. But he saw this little a door that swiveled back and forth. It looked like a laundry chute. And he pushed the little door and looked down in there. And suddenly he slipped and he was going down the chute just as fast as he could go. And it went on quite a long ways. And there he was, getting darker and it getting echoes and everything. It sounded like he was way underground. Boy, this was the longest chute he ever saw. Well, finally, he came bouncing out at the end of it, and lo and behold, he was in a totally different land again. This was the Monopoly land. Everything was owned by the Monopoly people. And the big cheese there, the chief honcho, was the battleship. And whatever he said, that was law. You had to do what the battleship said, or it was going to go rough for you. And the next in command was the horse. The little token with the horse. And everyone else was subject to these two. Well now, luckily, the first one he encountered there was the Thimble. And she was a pretty nice lady. And she warned him what to look out for. And not to break any rules, because these Monopoly kingpins would really stick it to him, you know. So he talked for a while with the Thimble, got some information from her, and then he walked in down that curving, winding, twisting road, full of gnarled trees and strange-looking shapes, dirty, mouldy leaves on the trees. He was getting scared. Yeah. Then he came to...
Time.
Oh,
Emma, I have an idea. After you get done, we'll go back to Sue and do the same story, you know. Continue with the story. So you don't have to end it yet. Go ahead.
well, he came to, he left the Thimble lady, and he came to another lady. That was the Iron, and she was such a hard worker. She invited him to her home, and his clothes were so torn and messed up from all these adventures. She washed his clothes for him and ironed them and told him to put a blanket around him while he was waiting. Because he really did need some repairs. And she called her friend the Thimble over, and they sewed his pants where they were so torn. They mended his clothes and got him looking a little bit better. And then they sent him on his way again. And next he encountered what's another one of those pieces? The little racer. The little racer was friendly, and the little racer offered him a ride, and he was glad because he was so tired plodding along like that. Those roads were getting really bumpy and full of rocks. So the racer gave him a lift as far as he could, and then he was on his own again.
Snipe!
Comment.
Keep woodcock. Carp!